Hello and welcome. I'm Vincent McCory and this is Africa 54. Well, Syrian warplanes and artillery have pounded the rebel-held suburbs of Damascus on Friday. The attacks come as the top diplomats from the United States and Russia met in Switzerland for the second straight day as they work towards a plan to remove Syria's chemical weapons. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry and Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov met with international envoy Lakhdar Brahimi on Friday in Geneva as they tried to firm up a Russian initiative to have Syrian President Bashar al-Assad turn over his chemical weapons and avert U.S. military airstrikes. Both Kerry and Lavrov have agreed to try and make progress on a broader effort to end Syria's civil war that has divided much of the Middle East and world powers.
We are committed to try to work together, beginning with this initiative on the chemical weapons, in hopes that those efforts could pay off and bring peace and stability to a war-torn part of the world.
We're here basically to discuss the issue of chemical weapons in Syria, now that the Assad government joined the Chemical Weapons Convention. We have to engage our professionals together with the Chemical Weapons Prohibition Organization, as we agreed with the United Nations, to design a road which would make sure that this issue is resolved quickly, professionally, as soon as practical.
VOA State Department correspondent Scott Stearns is in Geneva covering the talks, and he recaps day one of the Kerry-Lavrov meetings.
In Geneva, Secretary of State Kerry said the world is watching to see whether President Bashar al-Assad will live up to his promise to give up chemical weapons.
Expectations are high. They are high for the United States, perhaps even more so for Russia to deliver on the promise of this moment. This is not a game, and I said that to my friend Sergei when we talked about it initially. It has to be real.
In an interview with Russian television, President Assad said he endorses Russia's plan for turning over chemical weapons, but not under threat of a U.S. attack.
When we see that the U.S. really wants stability in our region and will stop threatening and aiming to attack and stop supplying weapons to terrorists, then we will consider the process can be brought to the final stage.
Foreign Minister Lavrov agreed that Washington should set aside military threats.
Мы исходим из того, что решение этой проблемы
The solution of this problem will make unnecessary any strike on the Syrian Arab Republic, and I am convinced that our American colleagues, as President Obama stated, are firmly convinced that we should follow a peaceful way of conflict resolution in Syria.
But Kerry said the threat of force is the only reason Syria is now willing to negotiate through Russia.
President Obama has made clear that should diplomacy fail, force might be necessary to deter and degrade Assad's capacity to deliver these weapons. It won't get rid of them, but it could change his willingness to use them.
In London, British Foreign Minister William Hague said any deal on Syrian chemical weapons must be enforceable.
Given their track record, any commitment made by the Syrian regime must be treated with great caution.
Russia has already said it will veto any UN Security Council resolution that includes the potential use of military force. Turkish Prime Minister Recep Tayyip Erdogan said on Thursday that President Assad has won time for new massacres.
Biz kimyasal silahlarla ilgili olarak da aslında
We don't trust him with chemical weapons. Millions of people are displaced now, and the Syrian regime will continue its massacres.
U.S. officials at these talks say they'll test the sincerity of the Russian proposal by pushing for the rapid beginning of international control over Syrian chemical weapons and production facilities. Scott Stearns, VOA News, Geneva.